Welcome to the Wealth Transfer with TC. Today I'm going to talk about some important things relating to prophecy. Mostly I'm going to talk about the prophecies surrounding April 8th and the whole solar eclipse thing. Right, I'm going to get into that because I'm seeing all these different prophecies suddenly like over the last month, and I want to discuss some things relating to that. I'm going to touch really quickly on the markets and then also Zion Oil. First, before I get into this, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing information, giving you my thoughts and my opinions on that information. Currently, it is April the 7th of 2024. The Dow Jones Industrial is at $38,904. Bitcoin is at 69,322. The overall market cap is $2.58 trillion. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin, folks, and I shared with you that I'm just in this waiting period. Right, I'm waiting to see if it's going to go up or if it's going to go down. Right, I'm waiting for certain events to happen in the natural. So with me just waiting to see, I'm just kind of doing things like recalibrating my portfolio. I'm looking at it and seeing, okay, what things can I change? And I'm still buying cryptocurrency. I'm still buying Shiba Inu. Now, really quick, Zion Oil. If you guys remember the last video that I did, it was sitting at 6 cents. It's currently sitting at 0.076 cents. And I shared with you guys by the end of the first quarter, they are supposed to go back into MJ01 well. Folks, there is oil there. The only thing about it is that whether or not if they can extract it. And this is a make or break situation for Zion Oil and Gas. So this is very, very high risk. Now, this is the thing. The oil is there. We can get to the oil, but extracting it is the problem. All right. And so since this is a make or break situation, they have to make this work, or it's going to be years. And so that whole process from trying to find the next place to drill all the way to actually drilling to the end of the drilling process, a minimum of 2 years. So Zion Oil sat around 6 cents for a very long time. It even got down below 5 cents for a very short period of time. And so there's anticipation. So I believe that's why in the past 5 days, as you can see here, it's up by 25%. Right, and I do expect that after the announcement is made, they've gone back into MJ01. I do expect the price to go up, but then of course I do after maybe a week or so that the price will go back down because there's going to be a lot of FOMO in right now because they are going back in MJ01. Remember, they said this whole process should only take up to 3 months, right? So maybe within 4 months, at the very most, by August, we should know whether or not if they have a viable well. All right, so I want to go ahead and get into this whole eclipse thing. Now, I have studied prophecy in general for a very long time, and I wanted to speak about what's going on with this whole thing with the eclipse and all these people coming out with all these different prophecies, right? This big rush all of a sudden of eclipse prophecies. Now, I remember as a kid when HBO was just on one channel, we had to move the dial back and forth, right? This is before HBO became what it is today, right? So it wasn't anything, it was completely different. Right now, I remember as a kid, they would show these Nostradamus prophecies, and it mostly concerning about the end times, the Antichrist, the last or the third Antichrist. And it was actually the very first time that I heard that Antichrist would actually come from the Middle East. And now today, people are saying, biblically speaking, because people don't understand that the Middle East was under Rome too as well. It's part of the Roman Empire. But many teachers have pointed out now in the same direction as far as where an Antichrist is going to come from. And then also there are some prophecies out there about the leader of Saudi Arabia being the Antichrist. So once I got saved and I started reading the Bible, then I started getting into biblical prophecy. And so my eyes were opened up to a lot of the things that are happening in this world now and how close we are, especially everything going on with Israel and the whole thing with the third temple and how the Middle East is shaping and forming right now. It's a very scary moment in human history. Now, concerning this eclipse, now I've seen a lot of people come out with all these eclipse prophecies over the last couple months, but over the last couple weeks it's intensified. It seems like everybody has a prophecy concerning the eclipse. Now, the first thing that I want to say, folks, is that anything that we have been talking about over the years was going to happen regardless if there was an eclipse or not. And I think there's a lot of people, a lot of fake prophets and dreamers that are taking advantage of people concerning this eclipse. They're trying to draw viewers to your channel and everything. right? I've seen people say the rapture is going to happen on April the 8th. The 3 days of darkness is going to happen. CERN is supposed to be supposedly opening a portal. There could be a terror attack there because our government has put out here in the United States, about being part of large gatherings. Some people say the markets are going to fluctuate or something either bad is going to happen dealing with the markets or even something really good. I think most people that are coming out with these prophecies surrounding the eclipse, I think they're just trying to do things and say things and lie or whatever to try to get you to come to their channel and watch their channel. And people are addicted to those things because if you really, really thought that the rapture was going to happen, your life would be different right now. If you really thought the 3 days of darkness was going to happen, right, and all the things that are supposed to happen in the 3 days darkness prophecy, you would change your life right now and do everything you can to get your family and your loved ones to Christ. If you really believe that CERN is going to open up a portal and bring through demons and all this stuff, then you know what? Then you would be doing things to get your life right. And it's kind of funny, like with all these different prophecies, how come people didn't make these prophecies a year ago or 2 years ago, right? Or 3 years ago? Why do all these prophecies have to surround the eclipse? Anybody can make up anything after the eclipse and claim, oh, look, I told you what God told me, that something was going to happen after the eclipse. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, one thing that is happening on April the 8th that people should be concerned about is what the Vatican is doing. They're announcing April 8th, a publication document on human dignity. There's a lot of social and political issues that are plaguing the church right now, because people think that we should be able to live any kind of which way. And you have another group of people who are trying to say it's against what God wants. And according to what is supposed to take place in an interview with the Spanish news agency, EFE, in January, Cardinal Fernandez had said, "We are preparing a very important document on human dignity, which includes not only social issues, but also strong critique of moral issues such as sex change, surrogacy, and gender ideologies, etc." So this is going to be very important. We've seen this different denominations split away from each other because of certain ideologies that have plagued the church, and there are denominations that are being split right down the middle. And you got a group going one way and you got a group going another. So far right now, the Catholic Church, especially in our community, they do a lot. They help the homeless. They feed a lot of people all year round. They do a lot in this community to help out with the homeless and other things, way more than any of the other churches that are out there in our city. But one of the things is the Catholic denomination is one of the last strongest churches that is still standing today. Many of the other denominations have fallen. In order for the enemy to complete its plan, the Catholic Church has to fall too at some point, right? And people even tie biblical prophecy to that. And I could get into my own opinion, what I think that goes on with the Pope and the Antichrist and all that. And I think there's a reason why the Antichrist does go after Rome after a certain point. But that's just my opinion, and maybe I'll talk about it in another video. Now, as far as this whole thing with CERN, right? And the whole thing with CERN came from a Facebook post that somebody posted about how CERN is supposed to activate the collider, and they're supposed to do conjunction with April the 8th, and they're supposed to be opening up portals and all this stuff. Well, CERN had already activated the collider last month. So this post that was going around, is creating all this craziness within the prophetic world. And it's basically fake news. Now, I'm not saying that CERN isn't doing some of the things that people are accusing them of doing. I'm just saying concerning what's going on April the 8th. And one of the things I also did learn about solar eclipses is that there is, and there can be, stronger gravitational pulls that can cause earthquakes, right? It's not going to happen a week before or 3 or 4 days before. It's going to happen during that time period if it was going to happen, right? Or shortly after. And we do know that, in my personal view, my personal opinion, we know that they are trying to access the spiritual realm. They're trying to access other dimensions by using this technology and all this testing and everything that they're doing. It's all for a purpose, right? And it's not for what they say it is for. Now, also, too, this came out on April the 5th. U.S. intelligence warns of possible threats to large gatherings. So please, folks, if you're out there and you're listening, this might be something that could happen. Hey, there's this eclipse that is going on, and it could be a target for some people, right? Well, We did have some of the NCAA March Madness things going on. We didn't see anything then. And hopefully we don't see it. Now let's get to this prophecy dealing with the 3 days of darkness. A lot of people talk about what it was like in Moses' day or whatever when the plagues were coming and there was 3 days of darkness. Well, this prophecy, when people say the 3 days of darkness prophecy, right? We also heard the 10 days of darkness and all this stuff, right? That we used to tend to believe all that stuff in 2016 and 2017. But this is an actual prophecy. It's actually a Catholic prophecy. Okay, and this is what the actual prophecy is. So if you think the 3 days of darkness is going to happen on the 8th, well, get ready, for your life is about to change, and so is everybody else. Because people don't understand. They just think of 3 days of darkness. They don't look at to see where the original prophecy came from. So let me go ahead and read the prophecy. Now listen to this. And this is not even the whole entire prophecy or all the prophecies she's ever said. Blessed Anna Maria Tagi predicted a major and as yet still forthcoming chastisement for the world on the account of its grave sins. God will send 2 punishments. One will be the form of wars, revolutions, and other evils. It will originate on earth. The other will be sent from heaven. There shall come over the whole earth an intense darkness lasting 3 days and 3 nights. Nothing can be seen, and the air will be laden with pestilence, which will claim mainly not only the enemies of religion. It will be impossible to use any man-made lightning during this darkness except blessed wax candles. He who out of curiosity opens his windows to look out or leaves his home will fall dead on the spot. During these 3 days, people should remain in their homes, pray the rosary, and beg God for mercy. Right, so that is the main 3 days of darkness prophecy. So if you're expecting that to happen, you are going to change your life right now. If you really believe that it's going to happen on the 8th. Unless you have these wax candles, there's a symbolism in that when it comes to those wax candles that I'm not going to get into right now. But there's also more to that prophecy that will happen on a Thursday, Friday, and a Saturday. Well, if that prophecy was going to come to pass, well, it's Monday, April the 8th. So it can't be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And let's continue to go on. There's more added to this prophecy. The earth will be covered in darkness, and hell will be loosed on earth. The thunder and lightning will cause those who have no faith or trust in power to die of fear. During those 3 days of terrifying darkness, no windows must be opened, because no one will be able to see the earth and the terrible color it will have in those days of punishment without dying at once. The sky will be on fire, the earth will split. During these 3 days of darkness, let the blessed candle be lighted forever. No other light will shine. The candles of the blessed wax alone will give its light during this horrible darkness. One candle alone will be enough for the duration of this night of hell. In the homes of the wicked and blasphemous, these candles will give no light. My children, said the Virgin Mary, mind my words, in those days of mourning, there will be another earthquake as strong as many others, less strong in many other places. Everything will shake except the piece of furniture on which the blessed candle is burning. This will not shake. You will gather all around the crucifix and my blessed picture. This is what will keep away this terror. During this darkness, the devils and the wicked will take most hideous shapes. Red clouds like blood will move across the sky, and the crash of thunder will shake the earth, and sinister lightning will streak the heavens out of season. The earth will be shaken to its foundations. The sea will rise. Its roaring waves will spread over the continent. Now, I can go more and more into this, but this is where the original modern-day prophecy comes from. Right? So a lot of people talk about it, but they're not giving you the true history of the 3 days of darkness. So if you really truly believe, and you're one of those who believes that the 3 days of darkness is going to happen because of the eclipse, then you're definitely going to change your life, and you're not going to come out for the next 3 days, right? You're going to stay in your home from tonight all the way up until Thursday. Now, when it comes to the 3 days of darkness, the prophecy, do I believe that it is something that is going to happen? I believe that it's going to happen at some point during the second half of the tribulation or during the days of judgment after the tribulation period. I have listened to many people who have dreams and visions about the end times and something similar about darkness and demons and everything else that is going to be manifesting during this time period. It will be a time period that you will not be a part of. But if you believe that it's going to happen tomorrow or today, if you're listening to it on the 8th, then pretty much, this whole world is screwed right now. But I do believe it is for a later time after the mark of the beast, or it will happen after the tribulation period when they go into the bowl judgments. And I believe that's what some of these people are seeing, not just from the prophecies that I read, but some of the videos that I've been watching, where they will have literal manifestations of fallen angels and demons on this earth doing whatever it wants to concerning the human race. And God's people will be protected during that time period that are still alive and remain, and use the word of God to protect themselves from these manifestations. So this, like I said, this whole thing, I just think that most people aren't really telling the truth when they are prophesying surrounding this event. I think a lot of people are just using this event. It's not to say nothing is going to happen, because very well, from what I've just learned, solar eclipse and the whole thing with the moon in different positions, and if there's enough gravity pull, yes, something could happen on that particular day. And so, but I just want to remind folks that whatever happens this year or after April the 8th, there's many things that we're expecting anyways, right? We weren't talking about the eclipse a year ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, right? When we're talking about some of the things that we're seeing today when it concerns the economy and world affairs and political affairs, right? And the craziness that we've discussed. Regardless of what happens, people are going to try to attribute it to their prophecy that they made. That's exactly what's going to happen. When something bad happens within 30 days of April the 8th, people will say, look, I did prophesy this, right? So they can attach their prophecy to the eclipse, right? So beware out there, folks, because there's a lot of people that are doing this, and I believe probably 99% of the people are prophesying the news, or they're prophesying their flesh, or they're prophesying what they're seeing because they're watching 5, 6, 10 of these videos dealing with this, and so they dream about it. And a lot of these people who are saying these things are going to happen, trust me, they would not be sitting there making videos as if nothing was going to happen if they truly believed that these events were going to happen surrounding the solar eclipse. 2024, we've always been saying, is going to be a crazy year. It's a political year with the presidential election and many other things. And I'm expecting, regardless if there was an eclipse or not, a lot of bad events to happen, but I'm also expecting a lot of good events to happen. We don't always have to look at some of these signs of what happens in the skies as always being negative, right? If you truly believe in the wealth transfer, you truly believe that we're going to bring the kingdom of God on earth, before he comes back for his perfect church. If you truly believe that, then these are good signs to us. We just pray for souls to be saved and no more souls to be taken down under. So that's all that I have for this today, folks. I got videos that I have already made that I put on the Patreon that I haven't made public. They should be coming this week or by next week. So anyways, folks, that is all that I have for this today. I thank you guys for listening. God bless. TC out.